Yes.
We do have a quorum, Miss Susan.
Oh,
You don't see
okay.
anything on the agenda that we need a supermajority for, do you?
And you are recording now.
All right.
Okay. The time is officially 6:04 and we're convening this P&Z meeting. I'm Jeff Waddell, acting as the temporary chairman. We're welcoming 2 new members to the P&Z, and that would be Carrie May. And welcome, Carrie. And also Miriam Walker, which is she on the,
She is not on yet. I don't know if she had an issue with her computer or what.
Sure.
She's not.
Okay, but we do have a quorum, and so we can proceed. We do have a quorum.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Item number 1, do we have any visitors or guests that wish to speak at this time?
I've not received any comments to read, and I believe the 2 that are on, I see Jonathan White and Mr. Bill Clevenger, who I think are both on for specific items on the agenda later.
Okay. Thank you. Item number 1 on the agenda is the introduction of the 2 new members, which I just had stated who they are. So we'll go right on to item number 2, and that is consideration and possible action regarding regular meeting minutes, October 6th meeting, 2020. I believe there is no action to be taken on that tonight because that's still in process, correct?
Right. The staff's recommendation on that, as I explained earlier, just didn't have time to get it done, and that's my apologies to the commission for not having those minutes done. But the action would be to table that until the next meeting, which let me give you the date of really quick.
Okay.
So we would want to table this for December 1st. That's easy.
Okay. Thank you.
Or until December 1st.
So that will be postponed until that date. Okay. Okay, moving on to item 3.
You'll want a motion and action on that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, yes. Go ahead if somebody wants to do that. Because as a temporary chairman, I don't think I should make the motion, should I?
Brittany, do you feel comfortable making a motion to table the minutes until the next regular meeting?
Absolutely. I make a motion to table item number 2, approval of meeting minutes until next meeting, December, at the beginning of December.
Very good.
Okay, and I'll just say all those in favor say aye.
Oh, sorry, Jeff. We just need a second there. That may need to come from.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, do I have a second? That would be Carrie.
I'll second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Say aye. Okay, we have approval to take no action and postpone the minutes. Moving on to item number 3. This, I believe, I was given notice that there will be no action taken on this because there has been a change in the property owner is apparently going to be leasing this property to a boutique. Is there any need for me to read that item number 3?
I don't think so. Just, as you stated, there's no action.
Okay. So we need a motion?
No, sir.
No motion on, okay, very good. So officially, item number 3 is no action needed. Thank you. Moving on to item number 4. Consideration and possible action regarding a recommendation to City Council for a requested variance to the subdivision ordinance related to proposed parking lot surfaces or surface for a proposed food truck park to be located at 21806 Eva Street, Montgomery, Texas.
Commissioners, both our city engineer, Ms. Catherine Vu with Jones and Carter, and Jonathan White, the developer's engineer, are on the call, and you have the information in your packet. And with that, I'll throw it over to Catherine just to give an intro from our city engineer perspective, and then over to Jonathan to explain a little bit about the project.
Yeah, so this project is a proposed food truck park just to the west of Solomon Electric and just about across from Lone Star Cowboy Church. What they are proposing is a concrete driveway coming right off of 105 until you hit the property line. And then beyond the property line, they're proposing a sustainable parking pavement solution called True Grid. Now this is it's a permeable pavement that has the durability of more of a concrete type of structure. So your ordinance currently requires that parking lots have to be either asphalt or concrete and doesn't really give room for alternative surfaces. We have experience with True Grid. We've used it before in some of our other clients, and we offer no objection to it being used here. I believe in the information from elsewhere, it's rated to handle fire truck loads, so we offer no objection to it. Our only recommendation to, I guess, change from the variance that was originally requested is that we recommend extending concrete 75 feet back from the edge of State Highway 105, just to provide enough room for people to slow down coming off of 105 before they enter the parking lot. So they'll have enough room on the concrete area before they hit the True Grid to slow down to a reasonable pace so that we're not kicking up gravel and causing issues. So that'll reach to about the second parking space whenever you get in. So it's really not that much more. Other than that, we have no objections.
Does anyone on the commission have any questions for Jonathan? Or Jonathan, is there anything that you'd like to add to that?
Well, if y'all don't mind, maybe y'all can't see me, but hi, I'm Jonathan White. I'm with L Squared Engineering, engineer for this project. And Dave, I apologize, I misread that letter, their call earlier. It is only the small area in front that drive needs to extend for that deceleration. So just to kind of give you an idea of the overall project itself is we have a couple of developers that are looking in town to kind of develop it's more of a high scale food truck venue. We don't want to call it a park or anything like that. It wants to be more utilized as a venue, have a nice covered area, plenty of open recreational space, hope to plan on hosting either private or public events, maybe a volleyball tournament or cornhole tournament or movie nights with screens, things like that. They will be applying for a liquor and beer license as a part of this project. So there will be, beer and wine, no liquor, only beer and wine. The restrooms and the bar areas, those will actually be, at least at this time, conceptually be constructed out of ship containers. So those are getting kind of popular right now, being able to have build outs for those. And then they'd have several food trucks that would wrap around the recreational area. The majority of the food trucks are going to be permanent, semi-permanent in nature. I think there's some ordinances that we need to, or some things that we have to do to make sure we fit in the ordinance with what is allowed for those food trucks. whether it be taking some off site and bringing them back on every once in a while. But the idea is that the owner is a food truck operator and wants to be able to really control the food, as opposed to just having random food trucks come in and out that may not be of good quality or good nature, things like that. So this is really intended to be more of a venue of sorts rather than just a park. And if y'all have any questions for me on behalf of the developer, I'm happy to answer with any information that I know today. So.
Jonathan, it looks like a very good quality, high quality product, and we have seen some of this before. Just out of interest, are they talking probably more likely the gravel compared as opposed to sod?
It would be the aggregate backfill as opposed to the sod backfill. I will note that we did maximize parking in this plan, but the likelihood that this many parking spaces would be needed is likely not that much. I think to fit the ordinance, I think we need like maybe 10, but we obviously want to fit enough that could not impact the development as a whole. So it's likely that at least on an initial scale, we would have maybe half the parking spaces. I think we have over 100 here, so maybe about 50. And then if there's an increased demand and as they can obtain some revenue and things, they may finish the parking lot out to this scale if they find that demand. But I did want to make that note that it may be a smaller scale and on the parking spaces initially, and then it could be expanded as needed. And then, to answer your question, it will be that aggregate backfill.
Yes, but of course you have the option as things expand to do a combination, even possibly. In reading the material, it talks about the possibility of jackknifing a heavy load during certain periods of construction. But from your experience, this looks like it will hold up to anything we throw at it with construction, I would think.
Yes, so it's likely this will be the last part actually installed after construction, just looking at a lot of heavy equipment, but the majority of the pavement system will be their heavy duty cross section, which is an 8-inch cross section. And it's an HS-20 loaded, so that 80,000 pound fire truck rated. So, county fire marshal's office wants to make sure that it's built to handle one of their trucks. So the product we're going to put out there will be able to handle that. And it doesn't make sense to have like the individual parking spaces have a smaller cross section and the drive aisles have a bigger cross section. Just construction wise, does it make sense to modify those? So it's likely the entire system, spaces and drives will all be constructed to that heavy duty.
Okay. And you all did address that this does not alleviate the responsibility of still having drainage. Of course, we like this is a great positive thing when anything we can do to have less runoff. But it looks like still there's always going to be the engineering involved at the
Correct.
later stages for drainage. Yeah.
Correct. So historically, you're allowed to do about 15,000 square feet of impervious area before detention is required. I do believe that even with that, an engineer has to be able to sign and seal an analysis that proves there's no adverse impacts on the downstream neighbor. This permeable pavement system, one does, act just like it would be for probably better as it would be just natural grass and infiltration. Within the 8-inch cross section, 40% of that void space is actually storage. So it is a more permeable surface than just the natural ground. And if needed, that 8 inches can actually, or at least the 40% void space can double as detention mitigation, which just further gives, I believe less flow will be flowing onto the western adjacent track than
Absolutely.
after this is done.
Yes.
Correct.
That's a real positive, especially with the concerns downstream.
Right. And I also, noticed that there's a really large area on the north end of the site that's just not being utilized. I don't believe we have a site plan I'm happy to share with anybody offline, but we have an aerial that was overlaid on this at some point that just shows there's a lot of canopy coverage in the rear, a lot of beautiful oaks on that backside. We're intending to just keep all of that canopy covered, put small picnic tables underneath it and walking trails and paths and things like that to just give a really nice looking place in that back to really highlight some of these areas. This is intended to be really nice, high class. I think the pavement system we're asking the variance on really plays with the overall product they're trying to put on the ground.
Yes, that would work well. Okay, and just the last thing I had was just to be clear for all of us, when you first came on, you addressed the driveway, 75-foot paved. I'm sorry, was something corrected or changed on that?
I talked to Dave earlier, and I had misread the recommendation letter. I thought it was the whole drive out, and I was trying to get some clarity, and I just misread the letter from Jones and Carter
Okay.
incorrectly, and it is only 75 feet. I was thinking it was the whole drive aisle, and I was just trying to get clarification earlier on that.
So what's the recommendation as we're looking at this plat is the paved part, whether it's asphalt or concrete, would be that where you turn in and then just a little ways into it?
Yeah, so the apron itself, the driveway off of TxDOT, they require that to be concrete. And I believe that Catherine was suggesting that another 75 foot into the site, that same 30-foot width, I believe it's 30 feet, just be, a rigid pavement system.
I see. Okay. Yes.
Can I ask, how is traction on a system like this in terms, I mean, you're obviously expecting traffic and probably not heavy traffic or whatever, but I mean, can it handle, I mean, if there's a lot of rain, would cars still be able to move efficiently in and out of that area?
Yes. So the hatch that we have shown is actually really close to what the pavement system actually looks like. And I don't know if you had looked at the handouts, but there's actually a few inch heavy duty plastic grid system that's inset over on top of an 8 inches of this aggregate. Then it's backfilled with the aggregate. And that aggregate it acts just like it is going to be gravel or crushed concrete. However, the spaces are filled within those honeycombs. And so, sometimes on gravel, when it does get, rain or a little washout, you kind of spin out a little bit. With the aggregate system being within these locked grids, they actually kind of hold that traction a little bit. And then it's, I hadn't mentioned this, but it's actually ADA compliant. So this is, can handle the wheelchair as well and navigate throughout the site. So.
Awesome.
We have the ability to insert these buttons, along the fire lane paths. We insert buttons to define the parking spaces with yellow buttons. The handicaps can be striped with the buttons that are blue. So they're very versatile.
That's a good feature. I have a question for David, actually, if we're getting close to making a motion on this. It's not really necessary to put in there contingent on the main drive aisle, the entry being paved. Is that necessary or not necessary to put that as a contingency?
I think it would be wise to clarify the recommendation of the city engineer and where it, kind of where it does play into it. So
sure. Just because it is recommended by engineering, so.
Right, just kind of that, if that's a change that you guys agree with and you want to see it, then my sense would be that you would want to include it in the motion. If you didn't want to, then I wouldn't include it in the motion. But if you do and it's included, then it just, kind of, gives a good point of, just that you guys wanted to see the change.
Yeah, and then we're crossing all the T's and dotting the I. So was it the final, is 75 foot what we're looking at on that?
Right. I think, based on Catherine's description, this was about the size of it. I would word it based on
recommendation.
Right. What the engineers.
Okay. Thank you. There may be more questions. Go ahead. Are there any more questions for Jonathan?
I think we're good.
Okay. Um, So if somebody wants to make a motion, because now, since I'm acting as a temporary chairman, that's not my, I don't make a motion, do I?
You vote, so I think technically you could. I think I do
Yeah,
agree with
yeah.
you to the extent possible. I think you avoiding motions is just good decorum.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we like to, it's kind of good to take turns and pass it around, but I've asked my question, so I'm like,
Okay. Is it okay if I make that motion then?
It should.
please.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the requested variance for parking lot surface of the proposed food truck park to be located at 21806 Eva Street in Montgomery, Texas, pursuant to them accommodating a 75-foot asphalt or concrete paved drive off of State Highway 105 for engineering recommendations.
And I will second that. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? We have a majority, all in favor. Okay, great, thank you. And thank you, Jonathan. And Catherine.
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate the input from Catherine too. Okay, so
Have a
moving
great
on.
evening. Thank you.
Yes. Moving on to item number 5. Okay, consideration and possible action regarding a recommendation to City Council for a requested variance to the subdivision ordinance related to driveway spacing for Moon over Montgomery, located at 1062 Klepper Street.
Members of the commission, this, as you may be familiar with the name Moon over Montgomery, is the information in your packet explained, just behind Jim's Hardware. The existing driveways on the street don't allow them to have a driveway and still meet the criteria. So they're here just to, again, to make sure that everything is, I guess all the details are wrapped up on the driveway spacing variances and anything needed for the development. Ms. Catherine is here to explain anything that I've glossed over or answer any questions you have.
So your ordinances currently require a minimum spacing of 185 feet on the right and then your opposite corners, and then a minimum spacing of 90 feet on the left side. And like Dave was saying, based on the location of the driveways on either side of the property, they're not able to achieve that. It's just not possible. And so in order for them to have a driveway, if their project happen, they are requesting a variance. And we offer no objection to the proposed location of their driveway.
I don't have any reason to object to this, especially if there's no other option for them.
Absolutely, I agree. I think the engineering on this is the key thing, and that helps us to move forward. As Brittany just mentioned, there's no other option really, and it looks like there's still more than adequate room there to make the turns and make the apron wide enough. So I think it's a good fit.
Okay, if there's no other comment or discussion on it, then I will make a motion to request or to approve the variance to the subdivision ordinance related to driveway spacing for Moon over Montgomery located at 1062 Klepper Street.
Can we get a second on that?
I will second it.
Very good. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. And all or anyone opposed, say aye. We have all agreement on that, 100%. Thank you. So moving on to the next item would be number 6. Consideration and possible action regarding 2 sign applications for the Chemifer building located at 401 College Street in the Historic Preservation District. Item A would be the Whitley Vineyards Suite 150, submitted by Gina Whitley. And item B, the Chemifer Atrium Directory Sign, North Building Entrance, submitted by Kevin Barnes.
Members of the commission, I did speak with Mr. Barnes at length on Friday, but he's not on our call this evening. The one thing that I would point out on these, I think the Whitley wine bar sign is pretty self-explanatory. Again, for our new member, Ms. May, it's still an exterior modification in the historic district, which is why the P&Z is looking at it, because it's a change to the outside of the building, and that's part of the historic district ordinance. That sign is, again, self-explanatory. One thing to point out on the the atrium sign is that it is a digital sign. So there'll be a screen that's inside that silver and clear case that you see there. Right now, there was a sign there that I think was inside this case. And I think what they're doing is they're installing a screen in the case to be able to change the names of tenants or to, display messages. I did speak a little bit with the owner of the building about the LED sign requirements or the electronic sign requirements that the city has, and I will, just make sure that he understands, and that we understand kind of what, his intent is. But I think, according to him, it was simply to display the names of the and the spaces that the tenants are in.
Okay, so let me just to be clear, the atrium, the directory is 36 inches by 24, so that's very similar to what was there, size-wise?
Yes.
Okay, and the picture does show green color, and I think everything we're looking at on the screen looks just fine. It looks great, but I think, as you just alluded to, Dave, the only question would be the brightness, I suppose.
Right, and again, those are easy things for us on the staff level,
Sure.
just to ensure that he understands what the requirements of it are.
Okay, and then the other sign over the door is 24 inches by 8 feet long. But it looks, we're okay on the square footage on that, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, it would be 60% of a 2-story facade.
Okay, yeah, and in proportion, because of where it's located, it looks fine.
Right.
It's really the same exact style that the other one was.
Right.
It's like, yeah. The original one we approved, was it to the right over? Is that still going to be there?
Which,
Well, as you're looking at the entry door, the original one,
I think it is, right, yeah, I think it
Yeah.
is going to be there. That's my understanding.
so we will have two, it's just a larger version of the other sign, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
I think got a bit of a historic look to it, or.
Yeah. Oh, you can just, you actually, yes, excuse me, you can see the original sign, just a little bit of it, just above the person's head that's sitting in a chair there.
Right.
And this sign will be affixed to the building, not suspended from those rafters or beams.
This new one will be suspended from the beams. You were thinking right, I think first. It'll be out, kind of, I guess, under the eave of the porch or the balcony.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. But there would be no issue with having them both, the old sign and the new sign. It's okay to do that.
Right. Again, they would still be well under the, what the sign requirements says about the size of the sign or anything.
Okay. Okay, great.
Dave, question on that. So even if they're not occupying like the second floor of that building, and so I guess, sign allowance is based on total building facade, not occupied space or occupied building facade space, if that makes sense. Is that right?
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're asking. And I think it's just, a situation that's probably not, come up. There's 60% of a building, elevation is a lot of space to cover. So I think we would, probably have some other issues just if, say if there were, a number of signs adding up to that 60%, there would have to be so many signs on the building wall that we would have, kind of, I think we would have seen the red flag earlier. But, to your point, I think, I would look at it as, kind of a, an overall, first in time, first in right, kind of thing. So if the first tenant, wants to use up 60% of the wall and somehow agrees to get the landlord to say okay to that, then, I would say that's between them.
Mhm. There's still quite a bit of wall space to the left, I suppose, for future too.
Right. And they're on the corner down there, they're on the corner of the building. So there's no one there to the left of them. And there's only the one other space to the right of them, which was the old barbecue place. And now I think there's going to be a deli, I think, that's moving in there as well,
Mhm.
which I think we'll have a sign application next month for it. It just didn't make it in time.
But yes, that's a good question. The style of the sign is in keeping. Are there any other questions? And Brittany, you okay with that?
Yeah, I especially considering this is a hanging sign, and it's not going to be on the building. I guess my fear would be just like plastering signs, it gets a little redundant and unnecessary, but I think that it's classy, it's above the door, it looks nice, so it'll be fine. So would you like me to make a motion on it?
Yes, and that is a good point. The fact that it's hanging, it brings it away from the wall. So yeah, I agree. Yes, please do.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the 2 sign applications for the Chemifer building located at 401 College Street in the Historic Preservation District. Number 1 for Whitley Vineyards at Suite 150, and number 2 for Chemifer Atrium Directory sign, provided that they adhere to any LED lighted sign statutes or code the city has.
I will second that. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? And it is unanimous. The motion is passed. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next item, item number 7. Consideration and possible action regarding a recommendation to City Council for a requested variance to the subdivision ordinance related to platting for the property located at northeast corner of Liberty and Caroline Streets in the historic downtown district for Texas Twist and Shakes.
Members of the commission, you've got the information in your packet. And again, this is the third subdivision variance that we're looking at. And the reason that we're looking at this, again, the subdivision ordinance requires that any property that is requesting a water and sewer tap be platted. Now, as I explained in the introduction, to me, this ordinance really kind of contemplated a new development of raw land as opposed to an infill lot. The applicant, as you've seen in the packet, and after conversations with him, and he's on the line with us tonight and can add to it, but he's not currently asking to improve the site in any way other than the taps. So to talk, and again, this is a point that Catherine can clarify anything that I'm missing on. But the biggest implication of when a property is platted and kind of relative to the utility taps are in relation to impact fees. So because an impact fee is assessed at the time a property is platted. So if a property is not platted, you can't assess an impact fee on it. So kind of what that means for the city financially in terms of the cost of taps is these taps would fall under the formula that the city uses, which is cost plus 200% for the water and sewer taps as opposed to the impact fees. And I think those numbers are roughly similar. Am I close on that, Catherine?
You are, yeah, they're roughly pretty similar from what we've found. The cost plus 200% is generally pretty close.
So, again, so what we're asking, for you here is the applicant would like to ask the city council to waive the requirement. And so part of that process is this item is before the planning and zoning for a recommendation to city council on, whether or not you guys feel that a variance to this, to allow him to have water and sewer taps without having to plat the property is an acceptable thing to do. So I'll be happy to answer any questions or clarify, anything if I lost anybody on that explanation.
So this is essentially a utility tap for an interim use of this property. Because it looks like there's no permanent building on this site. It's just for an interim use until such time that it's either sold or developed to a more maximally productive use. Is that right?
That's, kind of my thought is, now, I'll let Bill, since Bill's on the line with us. Bill, will you give kind of your elevator pitch of kind of what you're, planning on doing down there, to the commission, just so they can get kind of the 10,000 foot overview?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time. So in that southwest corner, we're putting what would be deemed as a concession stand. It's not permanent, but yet not mobile. And I'm not making any, permanent changes to the property. It would remain basically what it looks like today. No permanent structures or anything being done. The actual stand is going to be selling ice cream and root beer. There's nothing as far as fried foods or anything food being prepared. So the water and the sewer request is the fact that because I need the permanent electric, and so by having the permanent electric or constant electric source, I just wanted to go ahead and be able to do the water and the sewer since we're in town and it would be there. Actually having any major, I mean, we would be using in essence less than a single family home. The water would be just to flush the ice cream machines in the evening, and just having the standard 3-bay sink and washing your hands and things like that. But overall, I mean, it's not bringing much of an impact or change to, like I said, the existing property and the way it looks. We're trying to be a complementary entity to the town, also with the neighboring property owners. That's why we're trying to minimize any kind of impact so that way we don't have any infringement on the Cozy Grape, and then also allow, being available or not available, but having the capability of, at festival time and things like that, there's the parking is still available and the lot's still available, for basically partnering with the city in doing festivals and different things like that.
So it'll be similar to, sorry, it'll be similar to that snowball stand at Jim's Hardware.
Pretty
All right.
much, yes, ma'am. We'd have it sitting there, catty cornered to the lot, tucked into the corner, nice and neat by the tree. We have roughly 4 outdoor handicap accessible picnic tables. Really just, like I said, overall, just enhancing that corner property and being a complimentary service to the town and the folks that live there or here.
So it would be set up as a temporary, but it's at the same time you had mentioned it would not be mobile.
Right. So like previously when you all were talking and hearing about Jonathan and the food truck park out there on the west end of town, and he was saying about how food trucks would come in and out because they have to come in and out. So with food trucks in the county level and preparing food, they can every 48 hours they have to go to what you call a commissary and dump their gray water and stuff like that. Now, back to what I said, we're not preparing any food. We're not frying anything. All we're doing is selling soft serve and ice cream and stuff. So I just wanted to do it more clean, I guess. Can I use that term? Just making it neat and simple, because my unit, a lot of food trucks can run off portable generators. A generator won't produce the energy or constant electric source to run those ice cream machines for the soft serve. So I would have the, you know, constant power, you know, the direct electric service that's there. And I had shared with Mr. Tram and Dave as well when we met out at the lot that the city actually has an electric pole on the property and set up for festivals and stuff. And I believe it was you, Dave. Didn't you say that you guys would have to, you know, try to, and I said, you know, please, whatever you do, don't move. Why cost the city any more money? You know, and add another wire going across the street. Just let your pole there. It's fine. We would just stick our electric box on the pole, and we would run our electric up to the trailer. And then from McCowan Street in the corner, we would just run the lines along headed west to the southwest corner and basically create like a small RV hookup for the water and sewer, and making it extremely neat. I'm not one for wires and things looking, you know, I just don't like overhead stuff and things like that. So it would run up along the side of the curb. We would bury the electric as well from that pole and just keep it very clean and stuff. I have no future plans of ever building or constructing a permanent structure like a building or something on the property. So that's why it would be very, you know, it literally would not be changing the aspect of the property as it stands right now. If that adds some clarity.
Yes, I appreciate the explanation. Yeah, you mentioned RV hookup, and of course, my first thought was that look of, like, you know, everything exposed, like when you pull into an RV park. So I appreciate what you're saying. When you were out there looking at the site, you mentioned about running. Of course, I see, you know, the need for the water, and as far as sewer, we're really just talking about gray water.
Yeah, I mean,
you had talked about doing the running. I believe it was running it along the curb. Was that going to be buried at a certain depth? I'm just not sure.
oh yeah, it would be absolutely. No, I'm sorry not to interrupt you, but it would be
Sure.
done by reputable. I think we actually talked to Wall and Plumbing, and they're like, look, this is a very simple project. It would be buried to all specs, regulation.
Mhm.
You know, doing the electric, you know, through a reputable contractor. But yeah, doing everything to code the way it needs to be done, and not having some big hunky looking hookup thing. I would keep it right neat to the curb. You wouldn't even probably see it,
Mhm.
because that's just, you know, I want it to look aesthetically clean, back to that word again.
Yes.
But you know, I plan on, you know, I know some of the shrubs that are there, kind of, some of them are dying and stuff. I'd like to replace those and just make it more, that whole corner, just making it more appeasing. I've talked to Mr. Cronin and stuff about, you know, just enhancing that lot and just making it look, back again, really clean and aesthetically
Mhm.
appeasing to the area, the downtown district.
Yes, you're right. There's a few wax myrtles right there, and they're slowly coming, but you do have a little bit of lawn space there. I'm just now looking at your drawing, and I'm trying to visualize the part about behind the food truck. The only structure was going to be that decking that was going to be at the height of the curb.
Right. The way I was gonna put, I just don't. To me, having the decking, what you all, and I guess Dave, Dave's seen it. I should have shared it. The back side of the trailer there, the unit, is actually a mural that says "God bless Texas," and it's a beautiful sunset that has blue bonnets and trees. looks like it could be any corner of Montgomery County. And I just didn't want somebody walking up behind there and maybe tripping over the curb. So I just wanted to put a nice even deck, not high, not gaudy, just even with the curb and straight over to the trailer or the unit itself. So it just made things even more aesthetically clean. I keep coming back to that.
I see. Not necessarily to be functional. The deck part is really just as wide as the trailer. Well, that's 20 feet, I think.
Right. It would just basically fill in that triangle, because I just didn't want anybody to step over, because nobody's going to see anybody back there. And I just didn't, some people can step over curbs or something like that. And I just figured if I made it even and that way, I'm hoping to eliminate any,
Yes.
trying to be forward thinking here.
Sure. So the mural is on the back side of the
Yes.
food
If
truck.
if you
The full size of the.
Yep, it doesn't even have our name on it. It's more of a if somebody wanted to take a picture and look at it and see, it's more to enhance the corner and the downtown district that way. Dave, would you allude to how that looks? Dave,
Your mic's off.
who's mine?
No, Dave's.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you hear. Dave,
There we go. Sorry about that. I kept hitting the button. But right, I've seen the trailer. It's almost kind of like what like what you would call a selfie station type thing on the back. So and I'll speak again back to the electrical and the plumbing would all need a building permit like any other project would in the city. So
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as any of that, the contracting goes, that would be all, as you mentioned, permit type.
Right. It's in addition to the P&Z, not in lieu of the permitting. So.
Well, I just have to be honest and say my first reaction was two things really, and I'd just like to get some feedback. We all hate to see giving up 5 or 6 parking spaces. So I'm trying to figure out how that's going to work. I mean, apparently you have talked to some of the other business owners, because that's always been shared, but at the same time, we realize you own it now, so things can change. But I'm just wondering, since parking spaces are at such a premium and when we're busy in town, were you thinking about, would this be even during the busy times, the festivals, it would be there? And my other concern is, I don't want to call it a concern, it's just something we need to discuss, is that everything we've done so far with so many other small entities, we replaced some small buildings, and everything we've done, it has been a permanent look to it. Even the snowball operation, when you look at it, it's a permanent look. So if we could just talk about that, it's something I just have to ask to get some feedback.
Sure.
I guess
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is just, permanent versus temporary. And I guess the real concern is just the overall feel of it,
Well, and to go off of that, I'm making it as permanent as I can possibly make this unit, and make it as aesthetic and looking to. I mean, honestly, it will enhance the corner. I mean, it will be an absolute draw to the town as you come up 149. Trust me, I spent almost $6,000 on a professional designed wrap to be, to look appeal.
Yes, yes. That, oh, sorry, that's the mural that you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
The
okay.
mural, even the front, the back, the side. I mean, it is a work of art, and around the unit itself, that's why I'm trying to make it as permanent of a look and clean as a look and appealing to,
Yes.
what you're bringing.
Yes, well, I appreciate it. I'm glad you brought that up, because yeah, we didn't see it. We didn't know about that, but that's why we're here, is to discuss. And
Sure.
it sounds like that would be appealing in general to anybody. It's not going to be anything, controversial.
I mean, I don't want to I'm not here to not to downplay anything or say anybody's is better than the other. That's not what I'm saying, but
Sure.
it's not going to look like a taco stand down the street.
Yeah.
If I can, freely
Yeah.
say that it's not going to be gaudy. It will really look appealing to the neighborhood. I promise you.
I appreciate that. It looks like you put some real thought into it.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sorry that tonight we have kind of a limited, because of the circumstances. I think we're all just trying to really get the reality of it. Have you talked to any of the other, I'm sure you have, businesses? What are your thoughts on the parking as far as giving up those spaces?
Nobody seemed to have, I mean, in reality, it's more towards the Cozy Grape than anybody. And they are in complete support of they believe it'll be an enhancement. They said it's not going to affect or impact them. We talked about if they need more parking for, a big night, or it's, something busy for them and it's not really going to crimp us, then, we agreed to have a complete fluid and open, area that we're working together. We agreed in principle that, look, we can truly make this a working relationship all the way around, and they're in complete support. And then I said, listen, I'm not saying that we would, because I mean, listen, an owner could come and say, well, hey, look, I don't want anybody to park on anything. And I'm not that way. I want to complement the town, the festivals, my surrounding partners, everybody. I mean, I'm here to partner with all.
Yes, absolutely. On the diagram where you've got it cordoned off with some planters and a rope or a chain, and there's a couple of tables there. If we were going to have some large event, I would think you would want to be open, and I don't mean to get into a lot of detail, but you always have some flexibility there to move things around, I suppose.
Oh, I'm glad you brought it up, Jeff. That's exactly like I did the planters. The planters are going to be like on wheels. And so I just wanted to, I just don't want somebody to pull ahead and like come straight up to the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would have just a little bit of area there. But like guys with Cozy Grape and stuff, I said, listen, that's why I wanted them on wheels, tastefully done, not looking like some, half-wit thing, but we can suck them in or move them in towards the trailer if, busy, if a festival, and it would be more deemed that I would have walk-up traffic and we would need more parking, then I'm all for it. Listen, I know I'm going to be busy no matter what during a festival, and I'm going to get a lot of walk-up traffic. So then I don't need a lot of drive-up or, parking. And so I would then be more of the partner to the community and my neighboring folks that, hey, we can condense our stuff. We're still going to be, we'll be fine. And that's why I did it that way, so that, granted, like exactly what you said, that we can, move out or move in to accommodate the overall greater good, if I can say that.
Well, that's well said. Absolutely. I know it's hard to tell right now as things would move forward, but what are your thoughts right now on what do you think your hours would be and what days?
We are looking to be open primarily 7 days a week, probably around the hours of between 10 or 11-ish to about 7, give or take, warmer days, warmer nights. But,
Yes. Yeah.
Definitely given a solid hours of operation so people, there's no question,
Yes. Yes.
how are they open? Are they not open?
Exactly. Yeah. That's sounds like.
And the other thing is I won't be coming back and asking for any kind of sign or anything because the unit is the sign.
Mhm.
So we won't have any exterior signs or anything.
Yes, in a way, it sounds like you're trying to keep it simple, but also a good quality to it.
Yes, sir.
So that's all I can think of right now. Anybody else have any questions?
No, those were good questions. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the effort and thought that's gone into it. I think it's a good concept. It's tough in terms of parking, but you are the property owner. You can really, do what you want with it. So, yeah, I appreciate
Mhm.
all the time and effort you put into it.
Thank you.
I
And you're
agree.
right. I mean, I listen, I totally don't want to be an hindrance to the community. That's not, I'm looking to be a steward. I mean, especially with the wings of Montgomery, hey, they get some great tasty wings and they want an ice cream cone. I mean, that's it. In the Cozy Grape, I mean, they have desserts, but it's like Tom and Efren, they're like, that would be great. I mean, it really, truly, and you're right. We've put a lot of thought and trying to be a good steward to the downtown district and to everybody around. And that's exactly, I mean, what you see is exactly what we're trying to do is just, be the best partner we can be.
Well, that's well said, Mr. Clevenger. I think this is an important stage because you will get probably some questions and comments. I just, like I said, I had to be honest. Initially, I had a few concerns with this. When you think about RV hookups and temporary kind of thing, and of course the parking spaces. But you've answered it well, and I feel like this could be a real attribute to the city.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's no place to get a good, wholesome ice cream cone of soft serve. And trust me, I will love when we start to bring this to, as this thing really comes together. I can't wait to share some of this ice cream with y'all because you'll be surprised.
Thank you. More questions?
If I were to make a motion, would you like me to make two separate motions, or can I do a combined motion for the last two items?
I think that it could really be combined because there weren't enough specifics on the exterior modifications that we haven't already talked about. So.
Okay. All right. Then I will make a motion to approve the requested variance to the subdivision ordinance related to the property at the northeast corner of Liberty and Caroline Streets in the historic downtown district for Texas Twist and Shakes, LLC, and to also approve exterior modifications for that same property in the historic preservation district.
I second the motion.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? It's unanimous. We have agreement. Thank you. And
Thank you all.
thank you, Mr. Clevenger. We appreciate you being there to answer the questions, and that's very important.
I appreciate you giving me the time, and I appreciate y'all, having the confidence in me to do what I'm saying I'm going to do. And I look forward to working with everybody and putting some smiles on some folks' faces here in the near future.
Right. We look forward to it. Good luck. Best of luck with that.
Thank you. Y'all have a great evening.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Now we're at the end of the items. David, I have a question. I just wasn't sure how to proceed. If we want to put something on a future agenda, can I just mention it now?
Yes, sir.
It's something we've talked about off and on for time, and I think it'd be good to have a discussion about mainly the what we call temporary banners, the signage for businesses, because I know we've tried to look at the ordinance on that, and if we could, I think with the new people coming in on the commission, if we could get some good guidance on that, is maybe some are temporary for 3 months or something, but if we could just clarify.
A full review of the sign ordinance in general would certainly be, a good thing, and in particular, kind of how those temporary things in the downtown, fit into it.
Yes, and where I'm going with that is as we move forward, we can discuss exactly how we can have some real teeth in that, where I don't know if it's going to require some of us to follow up on, because some have conformed and some have not. So
Right.
Whatever's going to take to make that happen. So that'd be a good discussion. Yeah, however you want to do that, whether it's a motion to pass it on to city council, maybe at that time.
What I'll do is for the next meeting, I'll come back to you with some recommendations, just kind of an overview of the ordinance, maybe some recommendations that to the ordinance, but at the same time, it may just be, recommendations on a staff level that we can make to better enforce the ordinance. So
exactly. Okay, great. Thank you. Does anybody have any other comments or questions?
let me just add for those that are still on, Susan and I have spoken with a training firm out of San Antonio, really, well known in the municipal world, to give you guys, and we're looking at a separate one for the city council, but it would be about a 3-hour P&Z overview of, kind of the, it would cover everything that had to do with kind of the role of P&Z, what P&Z administers in terms of ordinances, specific, that are specific to our ordinances. So they would look at our ordinances and explain to the P&Z and the staff, here are the things in your ordinances that you're going to be enforcing, and here's how to look at those issues, as they come up. It would also cover just open meetings in general, and be, again, a really, really good resource for new members, old members, for former members who are now on staff. So it would, once we get some more information on some tentative dates, we'll send them out, and I'll get with you guys on, something that would work. It'll be a virtual deal. So.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think that would be very timely, and it would be very helpful to us as a group.
Right. So.
I agree.
I will keep you guys up to date on that as it develops.
Great, thank you. Okay, anybody else? Anything else? I think we're at a point where we could entertain a motion to adjourn.
Well, I have a motion. I would like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting of November 3rd. 2020.
Great. All those in favor?
that.
All those, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. Yes, there's a second. Okay, we got a second from Carrie.
Yep.
And all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you all.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you all very soon.
Okay.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.